And this is such a spot where he could have really anything, which makes me really worried about picking out my next plan of action. I'm going to lead out here, and I guess I'll have to call. I'm just going to fold here. I know I'm getting a really good price, but he called on the... I think he could have me. The problem with this hand here is I think I'm behind a lot of the time now after he calls me on the flop. Unfortunately, my hand is really strong here, and I don't really... I mean, I can't check and give him a free card here. I sort of have to shove because I think my hand's too strong to ever fold, but, you know, not strong enough that I can really try to trap him with, and by any means. He hasn't snap called, which is a good sign. All he had was a straight draw. That was a very bad call. Calling the flop was even questionable. I might have just shipped it in there. Would have been a tough decision. I don't get why he called flop in turn. Or, sorry. Actually, let me go back and see that hand because I think I might have missed something. Oh no, I shoved the turn, my bad. And then, sorry if you couldn't see that. Again, my video displaying technology isn't the best right now. It's a free program called Bandicam, actually a very good program. Not that I'm trying to advertise for them, but overall it does a pretty good job recording what you want to see on your desktop. A6 is pretty not strong enough. I think he'll limp shove quite a bit here. I see a lot of players do this with queens and better, and even if he's not doing it with queens and better, I don't really want to possibly get $700 in with a6, and if I ISO, I sort of I'm nearly pot committed to call him anyway. a6. I am almost positive this guy has a big pair. I don't see him have anything. I think he has to have aces at worst. Wow, that is pretty sick. That was a bad read by me, but it's hard to predict how some of these players will play. Here's a spot. I think you could be doing this wide, and I could 3-bet, but I don't like 3-bet folding is pretty bad here considering the stack size of this guy. So it's probably better to just call and take a flop because this hand doesn't flop horribly. Here's a spot where it's a good spot, definitely a good 3-bet spot. It's going to be opening wide and going to be folding to a lot of my bets. My 3-bets. Even with a7, which isn't a great hand, it's still okay. Anyway, I checked the flop here to induce him to bet the turn with worse. I mean, I think he's going to lead with any king, so he might. And I'm just going to call to control the pot. Same reason why I'm going to check the flop here. I'm going to try to control the pot a bit. Yeah, here's an easy call. He has ace queen, which makes sense as well with his range. I mean, I think he should have led though on the flop, but he ended up not. I mean, if you're just going to be if you're never leading with middle pair, it's interesting. I have to call here. I have to call him down pretty much unless he shoves. Oh, this is so bad. He bets half the pot again. I mean, the thing is my hand is under-repped here, which is why I have to call. But I'm not a big fan of this spot because he could easily have a better ace. But there aren't many draws that he can really have that are ahead of me. He's pretty much just repping a strong ace or trips. And my hand is really under-repped right now, so I think I have to call. Yeah, I think it was a good read on his part because he read me as weak, which I actually was. But at the same time, because I checked the flop after hitting top pair, that I was pretty much giving up the representation of having the ace. And that's why I ended up leading on the river, and I ended up calling him down, which worked out well for me, although it's a pretty close spot. I'm not going to be winning every time they make those sort of bets. So that was good on his part. A lot of people are trying to bluff me twice at this table now. He bets. I'm going to call here just because I want to see what oh my god rake is going to do. Because if I raise him, I'm going to be committed to calling a shove here, which might not be the best spot, although I'm probably ahead with top pair on this sort of board. I can't really ever fold now. He checks. I think a bet fold is fine here. maybe even actually I'm trying to think if a bet fold is best. It might just be a bet call is better. Anyway, he called me on the turn, checks the river. I have to check back. My 10 has a lot of showdown value, and I'm never getting called by worse. That is one of the very, very few hands that might call me on that sort of a river. But he ended up checking the 9s, and I checked back with my Jack 10, which is perfectly fine. I don't think you really ever want to be betting Jack 10 there. Ace 10 might be ahead of him, but this is 24 big blinds or so. And this guy open limped, which actually has me a bit concerned on what he could do, what he might have. I'm gonna end up folding just because I can definitely find a better spot to be making a call like that. Like now, if he shoved, I probably would call just because his effective stack is 13 big blinds. I have a big chip lead in actually both of these tables right now. I think I've been playing pretty well. I've also been picking up a lot of cards. Hopefully I can win one, or at least come in the top 2 in one, because that'd be good to show you guys how to play heads up, whoever's watching this video. Well, I mean, once these stacks get so much shorter, you'll start to see people, having to go all in with more marginal hands. Like, you're never going to see him get in with 100 big blinds with ace jack, or even probably not with ace queen with him either. Ends up being chopped on this board. So, even though I have a big chip lead and I can have used the bubble here, not the bubble, I can have used the shorter stacks. It's not really a good spot because we're not on the bubble. With the bubble referring to when everybody, for example, if 2 people get paid, then there are 3 people left, you're on the bubble. Or if like 6 people get paid and there are 7 people left, you're on the bubble, because whoever comes 7th is the bubble boy, meaning they are the person who does not cash the last person who doesn't. He limps. I could shove here because I think he'll fold a bit of the time, but I don't think my hand is strong enough, given the amount of times he'll limp call with much better. And I think he does have a limp call range. And this flop is ridiculously bad. I mean, he checked me, but he could easily check shove a lot of any spade. But after that turn, I have to pretty much get it in. So I'm going to bet 200 here because I want to make him pay a lot if he has a flush draw that he wants to go on. If he shoves, I have to call here, just because of how he checked the flop and the turn. I don't think he's ever showing up with a better hand than king with no kicker. And my internet's not being the best right now. 9-7 suited, good opening hand on the button. Obviously, if any of these get 2 shove, I have to fold. But if they flat, don't mind playing flop in position with that sort of a hand. Those small suited connectors and small pocket pairs, they have really good implied odds, which don't really matter now considering how short we are. But I mean, if these people are going to flat me pre-flop, then they're not bad hands to be opening with, especially from the button, which you should have a wider range with, because when you're in position, you can definitely have an advantage over your opponents, because acting last in itself is just such a great advantage. Wow, he opened shove with ace queen. It looked like he got called by 4-5. I don't know if did I see that properly? Oh wow, he did call with that. That's amazing. I'm shocked by that. Open and a shove. Pretty easy fold here. And ace 4. I mean, even when he shoves, his hand is usually not going to be as strong as 9s. Still fine. But definitely not a spot where you want to get in with ace 4. Especially after this guy opens. He's been playing fairly tight. I think a shove here is fine. I don't think you're getting called by worse, actually. might not be the best spot to shove. Here's a fold. It's